step in creating our pouch. Now, it could be a makeup pouch, it could be a toy pouch, it could be a hair supply pouch, it can really be anything that you want. It's just a pouch, and this is a 20-inch circle, 20 inches in diameter, but you can use any diameter or radius that you want. This is a 10-inch radius, and it's really just, you know, cut on the double fold. I cut it out like this, so it's fold, fold. But the first step in creating this pouch, it's a little drawstring pouch. We have to insert a grommet. You can also use a buttonhole if that's what you prefer, but you need to put your buttonhole at least 1/2 inch in, because we are going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we're going to top stitch that edge, and then we can adjust our inner casing stitching to the buttonhole or the grommet you're using. Sometimes I use a bigger grommet and sometimes I don't. So there's that. If you want a cord keeper, which is one of those little, let me see if I can show you. 1 second. It looks like this. It's just this little thing right here that you just squeeze it and you put your little cords through and it just holds them. You can also just tie a bow. It's not a big deal, whichever you prefer. So we're gonna go ahead and get this grommet inserted. To do that, I'm first gonna snip a little hole. Approximately, let me mark it with my pen. I'm gonna put it a little further in, just right about there. And I'm gonna mark the center so that I can snip. I don't want too big of a hole. Usually when I do this, I just use an awl, but these are a little bit bigger, and this is a woven, so I wanna make sure that there's enough give in the fabric that I can get my little thing through. The other thing you can do to make this more sturdy is to use some interfacing, or put a different sort of fabric, even just like a little piece of fleece, right behind the grommet. I'm not going to do that on this particular one. Let me see if I can get that down around there if I need to do more like that. It just doesn't want to quite go on the outside, does it? Let's see if we can get this in there. Come on, there. All right, nope. Is it? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't want to totally fray this though. There it goes. All right, so now it's on there. Exactly how it needs to be. This piece is just gonna go right over that. Is it wrong? I think I might have it. Ah, that's why I have it done wrong. This is my bottom piece. The bottom piece will be the narrower piece. And it's the bottom piece because, oh, I did have it right. The top piece will be the narrower piece. Let me see how many ways I can confuse you. The reason it's the narrower piece is because we're going to hammer that in. So you see, let me bring you up a little closer. You can kind of see how there's an inside, and that's the piece that is going to spread to hold the grommet in place. And we don't really want to see that. We want to keep that hidden. It's just, I mean, it's not ugly, but it's not the most beautiful thing either. So that stays on the bottom. And then we put this here and we place our grommet. It just seats in there really nicely. And then we take the die, this thing right here, and we just set it right in there and it sits in. So I'm gonna hammer that in and then I'll show you what it looks like finished. Alrighty, so the grommet is inserted. As you can see, it's been hammered. It's nice and secure in there. We're all set. to attach our pieces. So move that out of the way, move that out of the way. The next step is to take each piece and we are going to put them together and just try to match up the edges as best you can. As you can see, I did not press this prior to working with it. You can if you want to, you also don't have to. I'm just gonna put a couple clips here. And then the next thing we're gonna do is stitch all the way around the edges. We need to leave about a 2-inch hole when we're stitching because we do need to be able to turn this out. So we're gonna sew. I'm probably gonna start over here. I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna mark there and I'm gonna mark about there. That gives me enough room to, let me see. Can you see that? You did see that. Okay. So I'm leaving this little 2-inch gap here. This is where we're going to turn it. So we're going to sew from here all the way around and back to here, making sure we back stitch, and we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'll be right back. All right, we are all sewn all the way around except for our 2-inch hole. So now what we have to do is turn it out. So we are going to take the inside and start pushing it towards the outside. Just like that. You could use something like pull, which is polyurethane laminate, to do something like this. I did try one with a tablecloth fabric I had, and that did not go well. I don't recommend that. It was too sturdy while also being flimsy. It was super weird. But we're just gonna keep pulling this out. Okay. Once I get it out, what I'm gonna do is clip around the edges again, just so I can clip right at the seam, like right at the edge, just so it doesn't turn or flip around on me while I'm top stitching. You technically don't need to do a top stitch along the outside, but I prefer to do it that way. I just feel like it makes a cleaner look. It makes a cleaner edge when you're gathered. So I prefer that. And then where we have our hole, we will tuck our seam allowance in so that it is in line with the rest. See how nice and smooth that looks? We'll just put a clip there to keep the seam allowance done. And we will keep turning, finding the edges here. Like that. Going. We're almost all the way around. Make sure you pull it out. Like that. This is also great if your kid uses like fidgets or anything like that, or anything that they want to take in the car with them that's maybe not a food. If you used a polyurethane laminate, you could definitely do it with food because it would be totally washable. But we're just going to do that. But it's good for carrying just about anything around with you. It's super fun pouch. All right, so what we're gonna do is, over here, we're gonna top stitch here right around the edge, and then we're gonna top stitch maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch on the inside here of this grommet. That creates the casing. So when I have done that, I'll be right back. Okay, so we have the casing sewn now. All we have left to do, and I have this super cute tie. It's just like a shoelace, but it's like pastel ombre. So I thought it would be super fun. All we're gonna do is take that, put it in there. It's not wanting to go, but it'll go. It'll be fine. It's getting snagged or something. Hang on. Okay. There it goes. So normally for something like this, I would use the bodkin to, if I was using lace or some sort of other cording, or even just fabric braided or whatever, I would definitely use the bodkin to weave it through. But because this is a shoelace, it kind of has a pre-made little egg, the egglet is what it's called. It helps me guide it through. So I'm going to finish guiding this through, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's all done. Alrighty, so my shoelace is all strung through. I have the cord catcher attached, and then all I have to do is just gather it all up. And it becomes this cute little pouch. Well, maybe. Get it a little closed there. And do that. And then everything I have in here is just going to stay in there. Whether it's makeup, whether it's toys. And it's just going to stay there. And then if you want, you can tie a cute little bow or do whatever you want. Now you have a pouch. You can take things anywhere. I hope that you will make some and give them away or even use it as a gift bag. Like I said, they can be made in any radius or diameter, and they're amazing for putting anything in. So I hope you make some and share them with us.